somewhere around there, there was a little group of believers that had settled across the plains of America. And they decided that they would like to get together. They missed fellowship. And they decided that they would spend some time getting together to study the Bible, to pray, and to encourage each other. And what made this group so unique was that it was made up of a variety of different people. There were some politicians, there were some businessmen, there were some farmers, there were whites and blacks together, just getting together to love each other. It made it very unusual, particularly in the 1800s. And as this little church gathered together, they would meet once a month, and they would pray, and they would minister to each other and love each other. And the word got out about that, and the little church started just developing little by little. But as in the mid-1800s, as you know, the storms of the slavery issue began to grow, and it burst over America. And we had one of the worst times in the history of the United States with the Civil War. And the local government, sensitive to the leanings of this particular church, told the people in the church, you may not meet anymore. They decided to shut the church down, and in fact told the people, you will leave this area, and if you do not leave this area, we will burn your homes down and even kill some of you. And in fact, one of the church members, because they had by that point constituted as a church, one of the church members was shot and killed. And they dispersed. This horrible time known as the Civil War came over the United States, and after a few years, when it was all over with, the people started coming back to their homes and back to the area. And they started to rebuild their homes, and they started to rebuild their lives. And they found that their little building was still intact. And they decided to meet together again in this little building because, as they said, our work isn't finished. That little church that I mentioned at the beginning of my message, that was the birth of First Baptist Church of Raytown. That's how we started. A group of believers of all different backgrounds. Just 16. That was the first number. 16 started back in the 1800s, meeting together. And they began to grow and understand that they had a calling on their life. And they had work to do. Our founders understood that. They understood that we have work to finish. And in spite of difficulties and setbacks, we need to walk as Jesus walked. We're called to that. And we need to live as the early church did, empowered by the Holy Spirit, harnessing the power of prayer, discovering